Now have a legacy of braces on your legs for the rest of your life.
Yes, the weakness in my hands will stay, and the leg braces will stay.
So Judy Roberts and her husband have filed a claim against the U.S. government. They're asking $12 million, though they don't expect to get nearly that much.
Judy, why did you take the flu shot?
I'd never taken any other flu shots, but I felt like this was going to be a major epidemic. And the only way to prevent a major epidemic of a really deadly variety of flu was for everybody to be immunized.
Where did this so-called deadly variety of flu, where did it first hit back in 1976? It began right here at Fort Dix in New Jersey in January of that year when a number of recruits began to complain of respiratory ailments, something like the common cold. An Army doctor here sent samples of their throat cultures to the New Jersey Public Health Lab to find out just what kind of bug was going around here. One of those samples was from a Private David Lewis who had left his sickbed to go on a forced march. Private Lewis had collapsed on that march, and his sergeant had revived him by mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. But the sergeant showed no signs of illness. A few days later, Private Lewis died.
If this disease is so potentially fatal that it's going to kill a young, healthy man, a middle-aged school teacher doesn't have prayer.
The New Jersey lab identified most of those soldiers' throat cultures as the normal kind of flu virus going around that year, but they could not make out what kind of virus was in the culture from the dead soldier and from 4 others who were sick. So they sent those cultures to the Federal Center for Disease Control in Atlanta, Georgia for further study. A few days later, they got the verdict: swine flu. But that much publicized outbreak of swine flu at Fort Dix involved only Private Lewis, who died, and those 4 other soldiers who recovered completely without the swine flu shot.
If I had known at that time that the boy had been in a sick bed, got up, went out on a forced march, and then collapsed and died, I would never have taken the shot.
The rationale for our recommendation was not on the basis of the death of a single individual, but it was on the basis that when we do see a change in the characteristics of the influenza virus, it is a massive public health problem in this country.
Dr. David Senser, then head of the CDC, the Center for Disease Control in Atlanta, is now in private industry. He devised the swine flu program, and he pushed it.
You began to give flu shots to the American people in October of '76.
October 1st.
By that time, how many cases of swine flu around the world had been reported?
There had been several reported, but none confirmed. There had been cases in Australia that were reported by the press, by the news media. There were cases in...
None confirmed. Did you ever uncover any other outbreaks of swine flu anywhere in the world?
No.
Now, nearly everyone was to receive the shot in a public health facility where a doctor might not be present. Therefore, it was up to the CDC to come up with some kind of official consent form, giving the public all the information it needed about the swine flu shot. This form stated that the swine flu vaccine had been tested. What it didn't say was that after those tests were completed, the scientists developed another vaccine. And that was the one given to most of the 46 million who took the shot. That vaccine was called X53A.
Was X53A ever field tested?
I can't say. I would have to...
It wasn't.
I don't know.
Well, I would think that you're in charge of the program.
I would have to check the records. I haven't looked at this in some time.
Flu shot. You may get the flu, but I know people who take the flu shot, they get the flu worse than I get the flu if I do get the flu, or I might catch the flu from them after getting the flu shot. I mean, there's no guarantee getting the flu shot. We just herd in like a bunch of cattle, get your shot, and thank God I never took the shot, and I don't have any intentions of taking it now.
And there's lethal, this is admitted, there's lethal amounts of mercury in the flu shot which could instantly kill you, and it does instantly kill people. You're just not going to hear a lot of footage on that on the media. You got to look for these things.
And that's the most dangerous part of this flu shot is more than half of it, I think, is the dangerous mercury that's in it. But we have to, this is what we have to start taking our personal power and thinking for ourselves. There's no outside government, no force, no pharmaceutical company. They're not out for our best interest. They're out for making money and making money for the people who invested in them. This is all about power and control. The people who are the health professionals, their opinion was we didn't do enough research on it, and just to leave it up to the individuals whether or not they want to take the flu shot. But it's the Center for Disease Control that wants to make it mandatory, obviously, because that's a little closer to Cheney and Rumsfeld and Halliburton and all the people who are involved in making a massive amount of money. Live or die, they're going to make a massive amount of money. This is a big scam and a big deal for them.
Right, and here's what's happening. This fall, you've heard it from multiple sources just here on the show, from different news media and so forth. This fall, Obama's giving away 1.6 million free swine flu vaccinations. This is major, major epidemic. I mean, 1.6 million, or not 1. Was it? What was the exact number? It was 160 million. This is like 160 million people are going to be infected with this vaccine and probably have some serious health issues because of it. And they're not stopping there. They're going to give you 3. This is mass genocide taking place right in front of our eyes.
I'm so glad I don't have small children in school, because I would be taking them out of school and homeschooling them, which is not my forte, but I would not want them to be forced inoculations. And I don't trust that the school can give the inoculations. I don't trust anything. When you hear from major medical professionals or people behind the scenes like Henry Duncan, who was behind the undercover, we didn't show that clip. But
Henry Deacon? Henry
Deacon. He's on esotericcosmos.com, and we've mentioned him before. He's the one that went undercover, is starting to come forward. He is advising his whole family, stay away from any kind of flu shots. He'll go to jail or pay the $1,000 a day fine. Obviously, most of us can't afford the $1,000 a day fine, and I don't know if there's enough jails to put us all in. But we have to stand up for our rights. We have to have a force that to come up against the force that's we're going to be presented with. No matter how friendly, no matter how intellectual it sounds, there is a scheme behind this, and there's a master plan. And I consider this to be the most evil thing that they can do on our planet today. This is the most evil thing. This is bionuclear warfare.
Right.
And we're using it on our own people. They're going to be using it all over the world. And if you watch, also on Esoteric Cosmos, Justin put the links to InfoWars, Alex Jones, and
just to stay up to date with the latest and what's going on with this upcoming food crisis, a shortage on food because all the farmers are going out of business. It's just important to stay up with the latest, and that's what we're trying to bring you, the latest news. I think this is the biggest story in history because it's happening in front of our eyes, and in just a few more weeks we're going to see a major epidemic from this vaccination they're giving us.
Yeah, and incidentally, that's pretty much why they want to control the internet, I think, because people like us and you out there and our fans that we're getting millions of emails from, they're enlightened and they're waking up, and they want to stop this chain because you couldn't write enough letters, we couldn't afford to be on TV.